was a scientist. So I was taught from my first dead goldfish that there is no afterlife, there is no God. When we die, we get put in a box in the ground and the worms eat us. End of story. Enjoy nursery school. My mom is descended from socialist-adjacent Ashkenazi intellectuals, so there wasn't much religion coming from her side of the family either. As a child, I thought that after Reform Judaism, there was secular humanist, which means you're the classification of Jew who's allowed to have a Christmas tree and sit on Santa's lap. My dad's family came from Germany, and while they had high praise for Jewish contributions to art and culture, they also seemed really pissed at my mom's side of the family for killing Jesus. And the way I know this is because every time I visited them, they would forgive me for killing Jesus. So identity-wise, it was a weird place to be. On the one side, I wasn't fully accepted, and the other, I didn't feel like a real Jew. And I wanted to be. I was curious about the mysteries of the universe. I was proud of my Jewish heritage, and I wanted to belong. So, when I was 13, I'd go to Hebrew school with Debbie Greenberg and pretend to be Debbie Greenberg so she could go to Burger King and smoke cigarettes and make out with boys and still get credit for being in class. But when the rabbi discovered that I couldn't read Hebrew, the jig was up. Are you even Jewish? What's your last name? It's Young with a J. Oh, like Hitler's personal secretary. I burst into tears. I ran out of the temple passing Debbie Greenberg, who smelled like smoke and was super psyched she'd just gone to second base with Joshua Ben Waxberg. Later that day, I tried to talk to my dad about the shame that I felt, but he couldn't show up for me. Maybe don't put yourself in those situations. So after the Hebrew school disaster, I decided to shut away any yearning I had for Jewish community. It was like I put it in a locked box and shoved it into the back of a dark closet for 30 years. And then I heard about this place called IKAR. And I was dubious. Thankfully, my ex-husband Doug pushed me and we went. I remember walking into services at the JCC and Mark Taylor greeted us at the door and then invited us to sit with his family. I remember being lifted up by Rabbi Sharon's vision for a Jewish community where spiritual engagement and social justice converge. Mostly, hold on. I don't want Wendy Light to get mad at me. Mostly, I remember crying, feeling flooded with gratitude, a sense of abandoned hope rushing in. And it wasn't just me who was offered sanctuary at IKAR. For 11 years, my son, Henry, has been supported and adored here exactly on his own terms. Sometimes the services are loud for him, and these days he has a lot of questions about organized religion. But Henry will never, ever have to bury his hope in a box in the closet. IKAR has changed my life. But I know everyone in this room has a story about what IKAR means to them. Maybe you were held and supported through a divorce, or as Jesse Zilberstein spoke about so beautifully last night, the death of a precious person in your life. Maybe you saw your children engaging in political action for the first time, knocking on doors to get people to vote, working with our multi-faith partners to reform the criminal justice system. And what about the ICAR-funded school in Kitira, Uganda, or the safe parking program? There are so many things to be proud about. And if you're like me, you listen to the news, then turn to the leaders of this congregation to help you make Jewish sense of a world that is on fire. Yes, it is on fire, they tell us. Now, what are you going to do about it? Do you know how lucky we are to have a leader who is not afraid to speak her mind? I know every one of us in this room, in this very moment, is so happy to have the sacred space to come together in strength, in pain, in awe, and in silence. What we get from ICAR is worth more than money, but money is how we show our support. I know you paid for membership, and that is nothing to sneeze about. But the fact is, membership only covers 1/4 of the yearly budget. And for those of you who are visitors, yes, I am audaciously asking you to support ICAR too. You are part of us, we are part of you, and after you emerge from these holiest of days, you will be irrevocably transformed, and that is not something you could put a price on. So listen up. If you didn't do it last night, I want you to take out your pledge card that's inside your name badge thingy. I mean it. Do it right now. And please don't be like, oh, I decide when I take my pledge card out, because they asked me to talk. So I am the boss of this room, and you will do what I say. Even you, Mr. Mayor. You will also do what I say because my son Henry is so invested in 100% participation this year that he made 1,500 I'm in buttons by hand. That is a lie. He made one and we had it copied. But once you put your pledge in the basket, we're going to give you one. If you're struggling but want this kind of Jewish dreamscape to exist in the world, then put your sticker next to $180. By the way, that's about a month of lattes. If you know the time is now to answer Rabbi Sharon's Rosh Hashanah call to build America anew, fierce, fair, and full of promise, then put your sticker on 1800. Do it, then double it. Hey, how many people in this room saw Hamilton? Raise your hand. It was so good, right? Just so good. Okay, you bitches need to put your sticker on $50,000 right this second. Okay, let's show ICAR what this community means to us. Do it. You know how much you paid for them. You know. Let's show ICAR what this community means to us. Make a statement. And if you gave last night, be sure to take a Henry button from one of the super hot board members who are walking around carrying baskets. The rest of you are now filling with pledge cards. Okay, one more story about my dad. During the last 24 hours of his life, he had 2 requests. In a bizarre burst of unwarranted optimism, he wanted to watch the pilot for Game of Thrones. But even more surprising, he asked to meet privately with a rabbi. I reached out to Rabbi Sharon, and we drove over to the Westside JCC, where they spoke in her office for about an hour. And that night, when I was leaving his bedside, I'd asked what he talked about with the rabbi, and my atheist scientist father said, I think maybe I was wrong. There is something bigger going on. There are just so many things we don't understand. And then he said, I'm going to miss you so much, sweetie, but you are so very lucky to have Rabbi Sharon and this holy place in your life. I know, Dad. I know. Thank you.